In this video, we're diving into the world of hidden treasures as we explore the most valuable, expensive, and ultra-rare U.S. coins. The top 4 5-cent Monticello Jefferson Nickels. United States. These coins hold a shocking history of America, and some of them, with S, D, and P mint marks, unique color shades, or even dirty and worn conditions, could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars today. Moneybag, let's get started fast up on. The 1959 Jefferson Nickel, the hidden silver mystery that could change your fortune forever. In the heart of American coinage, few coins evoke such fascination and whispered tales as the 1959 Jefferson Nickel with no mint mark. At first glance, it's a simple 5-cent piece, the kind that clinks innocently in your pocket or sits forgotten in a dusty jar. But for those who truly understand numismatic history, this coin holds a secret far greater than its face value. It is a piece born from the post-war brilliance of American industry, crafted during an era of change, and shrouded in rumors of hidden silver, rare dye varieties, and minting mysteries that could make one coin worth a fortune. The 1959 nickel, struck without a mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint, is one of those small yet mighty coins that capture both the imagination and the heart. The story of the Jefferson nickel begins in 1938, when the U.S. Mint decided to replace the Buffalo nickel, a coin that had served the nation for a quarter century. The buffalo had been rugged and wild, reflecting America's frontier spirit, but the new age demanded something more refined. Enter Felix Schlag, a talented sculptor whose design of President Thomas Jefferson and his famous home, Monticello, won the national contest. His design became immortal, and for decades, it would grace the nation's 5-cent pieces, a perfect symbol of America's intelligence, innovation, and enduring spirit. By 1959, the world had changed dramatically. America was prospering after the trials of war and depression. Technology was advancing, cars were sleeker, and television had become the storyteller of every living room. Yet even in this modern landscape, the humble Jefferson nickel remained a trusted constant. Millions of these coins were minted, but only a few emerged with the kind of uniqueness that could rewrite destiny. Those rare few, perhaps struck on experimental or leftover silver planchets or with unintentional errors, became the stuff of legend. Coins that collectors whisper about even today. The no-mint mark 1959 Jefferson nickel was struck in Philadelphia, the oldest mint in the United States, a place where history itself breathes from the marble walls. While most nickels were made from a copper-nickel alloy, stories persist of a few being accidentally struck on silver or transitional planchets, metal discs left over from special coin runs or tests. These are the kinds of minting miracles that happen when precision meets chaos. And if one such silver-struck 1959 nickel truly exists, its value would not just be high. It would be astronomical, easily soaring into the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the collector's market. To the untrained eye, a 1959 nickel may seem ordinary. But coin experts know that the smallest details can create unimaginable worth. A doubled die here, a misaligned strike there, or even a faint planchet flaw could transform a simple coin into a rare masterpiece. Some 1959 nickels have been found with deep full steps on Monticello, an extremely sharp strike that reveals every step on Jefferson's grand home. Such perfection is rare and commands enormous value. In pristine mint-state condition, these coins glow with metallic brilliance, carrying the aura of untouched time. The year 1959 also represents a symbolic midpoint between the silver-laden coins of the early 20th century and the more modern issues that would follow. It was an age of American ambition, when even a nickel represented pride in craftsmanship. Every groove, every line, every glint of the coin spoke of national excellence. That's why collectors treasure this era so deeply. It captures America at its most confident, producing objects of simple beauty that still carry emotional power decades later. What makes the 1959 no-mint mark nickel truly special, however, is not just its composition or its errors. It's the mystery that surrounds it. Stories have circulated for decades about a handful of 1959 nickels with an unusual silvery sheen, their weight slightly off, their ring purer than usual. Could these be coins mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from older series? Could they be test strikes that accidentally slipped into circulation? The mint has never officially confirmed such incidents, but numismatic history is full of similar accidents. And when they surface, their value often defies imagination. Collectors know that a coin's worth is not just in its metal but in its story. The 1959 nickel tells the story of an America that was transforming, a country brimming with hope, invention, and quiet confidence. It was an era of drive-in theaters, rock and roll, and booming suburbs, when a 5-cent piece could buy a bottle of soda or a handful of candy. Today, that same coin could buy a dream, because hidden among the millions of nickels minted, a few hold the potential to make their owners rich beyond measure. The Philadelphia Mint that produced this coin has always been known for precision, but it was also the testing ground for innovation. In 1959, as the Mint expanded production, the likelihood of experimental strikes and material substitutions increased, a perfect storm for rare varieties to be born. These special pieces, likely unnoticed at the time, slipped quietly into circulation, waiting for sharp-eyed collectors decades later to rediscover them. And when they do, the numismatic world takes notice, because a coup for appraisal, and under magnification, the expert's face lights up. What you hold, they whisper, could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. A silver-struck 1959 no-mint mark nickel, the kind that could change your financial life forever. This is the magic of numismatics, the blending of history, mystery, and luck. Coins like the 1959 nickel remind us that great fortunes can hide in plain sight. They tell us that not all treasures are buried deep in the earth. Some rest quietly in our own homes, waiting to be recognized. The thrill of finding such a coin isn't just about wealth, it's about connection to a moment in time, a piece of the American story captured in metal. Even beyond its material worth, the 1959 Jefferson nickel carries symbolic power. It represents endurance design that lasted for generations, a face that survived changing times, and a craftsmanship that refused to fade. Each coin is a silent ambassador of American heritage, a reminder that value is more than numbers. It's about legacy and meaning. In today's collector market, flawless 1959 nickels with no mint mark can command impressive prices, especially those certified in the highest mint states. But beyond grading and certification, what collectors truly seek is the story. The idea that their coin is one of the few born from error, accident, or perfection so rare it transcends its original purpose. That story, when proven, can turn a humble nickel into a billionaire. So, if you ever find a 1959 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, don't underestimate it. Examine it, treasure it, and never rush to spend it. Because it could be more than just 5 cents. It could be a doorway to fortune, a spark of history, a whisper from the past carrying a promise for your future. Within its metallic glow lies a secret, one that might just have the power to change your life overnight, proving once again that sometimes the smallest treasures hold the biggest dreams. The 1958 D. Jefferson nickel, the hidden silver legend that could turn an ordinary coin into a fortune. In the vast and shimmering ocean of American coinage, the 1958 D. Jefferson nickel stands out like a mysterious pearl, small, subtle, and yet surrounded by a legend that refuses to fade. At first glance, it's an ordinary 5-cent coin, one of millions struck by the Denver Mint in a prosperous post-war America. But to those who look closer, to the collectors who study the curves of Jefferson's face or the shine of Monticello under a magnifying glass, this coin holds secrets that could change everything. The whispers say that hidden among the millions of 1958 D nickels, there exist a few rare and extraordinary pieces, struck with unimaginable precision, or even rumored to have traces of silver, coins so rare they could make their discoverer a millionaire overnight. The Jefferson nickel series had already been an American classic for 2 decades by 1958. Introduced in 1938 to replace the beloved Buffalo nickel, it carried the calm and intellectual image of Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States, whose vision and ideals shaped the nation's foundation. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin featured Jefferson's dignified profile on the obverse and his elegant Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse, an image of order, intelligence, and grace. Schlag's design wasn't just a picture. It was a symbol of American progress, a reflection of the nation's soul in an age of innovation and discovery. By the late 1950s, America was living in a golden moment. The country was strong, confident, and prosperous. The space race was stirring excitement. Cars gleamed like rocket ships, and every pocket jingled with coins that symbolized the thriving heart of the United States. The Denver Mint, marked by its proud D mint mark, was working tirelessly to meet the needs of a booming economy. In 1958, millions of Jefferson nickels poured out of Denver's presses, but only a few would rise above the rest. Somewhere in those long minting lines, amid the thunderous presses and flashing metal, a few rare miracles occurred. Stories began to circulate about 1958 D nickels that looked different. Brighter, heavier, richer in tone, as though kissed by silver. Were they real silver strikes? Could they have been test coins made with leftover wartime silver planchets? No one could say for certain, but the possibility alone sent waves through the numismatic world. Because if even one 1958 D Jefferson nickel was truly struck in silver, it would be a treasure beyond measure. A coin worth not just thousands, but potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even without the silver mystery, the 1958 D nickel has its own mystique. It was one of the last coins struck before the mint began to modernize its dies and machinery in the 1960s. Each 1958 D nickel carries that touch of old-world craftsmanship, the slightly deeper engraving, the warm metallic tone, and the faint artistry that feels human. For collectors, that alone makes it special. But those who chase perfection know that what truly sets certain 1958 D nickels apart are their strike quality and mint state preservation. A coin with full, sharp details, especially the full steps on Monticello, is extraordinarily rare and highly valuable. Imagine holding one of these flawless examples. The light dances across Jefferson's cheek with a satin glow. Every window of Monticello gleams in microscopic perfection. These are the coins that command jaw-dropping prices in the collector's market. A single MS. 67 or MS. 68 full steps 1958 D nickel could be valued in the tens of thousands, and that's just the certified examples. If one of those flawless pieces carried even the slightest anomaly, an off-metal strike, a double die, or the elusive silvery sheen, it could become a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the kind that makes history and changes fortunes. To understand the power of this coin, one must also understand the legacy of the Denver Mint. Established in 1906, the Denver facility was known for precision and power. But like any great machine, it had moments of imperfection. And in those moments, magic happened. A slight die rotation, a missing mint mark, or an over-polished surface could give birth to a unique variant. Each such variant was an unintentional masterpiece, one that collectors would later hunt for with near-religious devotion. The 1958 D nickels, struck in the final calm before the mint's modernization, carry a sense of that mystery, that romantic imperfection that makes older coins feel alive. The story of the 1958 D nickel is not just about rarity. It's about transformation. It's about how a small piece of metal, worth just 5 cents in the eyes of commerce, can become a vessel of history, art, and wealth. Each coin is a frozen moment from 1958, the hum of American factories, the laughter of post-war families, the rising dream of space travel. All captured in metal that fits in your palm. That's why collectors speak of this coin with reverence. It's more than money, it's memory. And then there's the rumor, the one that refuses to die. Some believe that a small batch of 1958 D Jefferson nickels was struck accidentally using leftover planchets from silver war nickels or from experimental test strikes. Though official records deny it, numismatics is filled with such anomalies. The few who claim to have seen one describe a coin that rings differently when dropped, with a higher, purer tone, the music of silver hidden in a nickel's disguise. Whether myth or fact, this legend fuels the hunt, making each 1958 D nickel found in circulation a potential key to unimaginable riches. Over the decades, collectors have unearthed countless treasures from the most ordinary places. A roll of nickels bought at a bank, a jar of change from a grandparent's attic, a handful of coins in an old dresser. Imagine discovering a 1958 D nickel that carries the glint of rarity, its surface unblemished, its steps perfectly struck, its details whispering of hidden worth. That's the dream that drives the passionate collector, the heartbeat behind every magnifying glass and coin album. What makes this coin truly captivating is how it embodies both American history and destiny. It's a coin born at the height of America's mid-century glory, an era of invention, confidence, and craftsmanship. To own one is to hold a fragment of that golden age, a connection to the nation's creative energy and spirit. It's a reminder that value doesn't always come from size or face worth, but from story, legacy, and the magic of chance. Today, the 1958 D. Jefferson nickel sits at the crossroads of rarity and romance. Collectors around the world continue to search for that one perfect example. The coin with the mysterious brilliance, the flawless detail, or the impossible composition. Auctions have proven that when such a coin surfaces, it can command unbelievable sums, often shocking even seasoned numismatists. Because for all its humble beginnings, this coin has become a symbol of hope. Proof that miracles can be found in the smallest corners of everyday life. Next up, the 1963 Jefferson nickel, the hidden treasure that can turn an ordinary coin into a fortune. There are some coins that seem ordinary at first glance. Small pieces of metal passed through countless hands, exchanged for gum, newspapers, or a cup of coffee decades ago. But hidden within those modest coins are stories of power, mystery, and wealth. Among them stands the 1963 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, a 5-cent piece that, though humble in appearance, has captured the imaginations of collectors for generations. To the untrained eye, it is just another nickel. But to the numismatist who looks deeper, it's a relic of history, a symbol of mid-century America, and possibly the key to a hidden fortune waiting to be uncovered. The year 1963 was one of deep change for the United States. It was the final breath of an era defined by elegance, optimism, and post-war confidence. A year just before tragedy struck the nation with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. In this delicate balance between hope and heartbreak, the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the 1963 nickel without a mint mark, struck millions of these coins. Each carried the calm, stoic face of Thomas Jefferson, one of America's most brilliant minds, gazing forward with a vision of liberty and progress. His home, Monticello, graced the reverse, a symbol of architectural perfection and the intellectual soul of the Republic. By 1963, the Jefferson nickel had already become one of the most familiar coins in America. Designed by Felix Schlag in 1938, it was meant to represent not just Jefferson's legacy, but the nation's enduring spirit of innovation and democracy. Schlag's design survived 2 world wars, economic upheavals, and cultural revolutions. Yet in 1963, something about the coin felt special, like the calm before a storm. The following year, the mint would face the Great Coin Shortage of 1964, a crisis that would change U.S. coin production forever. But before that chaos began, the 1963 Jefferson nickel became the last of the truly classic strikes, a coin made with old-world craftsmanship and meticulous artistry. Most 1963 nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at the time. This no mint mark feature might seem insignificant, but it carries a deeper meaning. It ties the coin to the heart of American coinage. The original U.S. Mint, founded in 1792, where the nation's monetary history began. Every coin from Philadelphia is a piece of that legacy, and the 1963 nickel, with its smooth, timeless surfaces, represents one of the last great chapters of that classical minting tradition. But what makes the 1963 Jefferson nickel truly extraordinary is not just its design or its history. It's the mystery of rarity that surrounds it. Among the millions minted, a few rare examples exist that were struck with exceptional precision, creating coins that show every window and step of Monticello in crisp detail. These are known as full steps nickels, and they are the crown jewels of the series. Finding one in perfect uncirculated condition, with all 6 steps visible, is like discovering a hidden diamond in a sea of pebbles. Collectors have paid thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, for such pristine examples. And yet, there's another layer of fascination: the rumors of silver composition. Though officially made of copper and nickel, whispers have persisted for decades that a few experimental strikes or transitional errors in 1963 may have been done on leftover planchets containing traces of silver or another unique alloy. Whether these are true or just the echoes of wishful legends, the mystery fuels the hunt. The idea that one coin among millions could hold a different metallic soul, a silver heart hidden beneath its nickel shell, gives the 1963 Jefferson nickel an aura of enchantment. To hold a 1963 nickel is to hold a piece of time itself. It was minted at a moment when America stood between the past and the future. The economy was booming, the music was changing, and the space race was igniting imaginations. Jefferson's face, calm and forward-looking, seemed to mirror the nation's ambition. Each coin that left the Philadelphia Mint was a silent ambassador of American identity, its craftsmanship reflecting the discipline and pride of a country on the rise. The true magic, however, lies in what time has done to these coins. Most were spent, worn down, tossed into jars, and forgotten in drawers. But a rare few survived untouched, sealed in mint sets or preserved by sheer luck. These are the survivors, the hidden treasures waiting to be discovered in an attic, a safe, or a box of old change. When collectors find one in perfect condition, a 1963 Jefferson nickel with sharp strike and full steps, they are not just finding metal, they are rediscovering a forgotten masterpiece. Auction houses have seen the value of these coins skyrocket. A pristine 1963 no-mint mark nickel graded at MS 66 or MS 67 full steps can command thousands of dollars, and rumors of ultra-high-grade examples have driven bidding wars that shocked even veteran numismatists. The combination of rarity, condition, and historical allure makes this coin a magnet for fortune. And if the legends of experimental silver strikes ever prove true, a single discovery could rewrite numismatic history and make its finder a millionaire overnight. Beyond money, the 1963 nickel holds something deeper, a sense of continuity. Jefferson's portrait reminds us that history endures in small things. The coin that once bought a soda or a newspaper now tells the story of an era, of craftsmanship, of an America full of dreams. Each line of Monticello, each polished surface, whispers of a time when design and meaning still mattered in everyday currency. The Philadelphia Mint, in 1963, was at the height of its mechanical might, yet its coins still bore the touch of human care. Workers, engravers, and inspectors handled each step with precision. The sound of presses echoing through the Mint's marble halls carried with it the heartbeat of a nation proud of its creation. Every coin struck that year became part of a great tapestry, some destined for circulation, and a select few destined for immortality. And now, decades later, the 1963 Jefferson nickel has transformed from pocket change into a legend. Collectors search for it not just for wealth, but for connection, a bridge to America's golden age of minting. It reminds us that greatness often hides in plain sight, that something as simple as a nickel can carry the weight of history and hope. So if you ever find a 1963 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Hold it up to the light. Look for the precision of the steps on Monticello, the depth of Jefferson's gaze, the whisper of luster that time has spared. You might be holding one of the rarest treasures ever to leave the Philadelphia Mint, a coin born of history, mystery, and unimaginable value. Next up, the 1941 Jefferson nickel, the forgotten silver soul of America's wartime era. There are moments in history when even the smallest things hold the weight of a nation's destiny. In 1941, as the world trembled on the edge of chaos, a modest 5-cent piece emerged from a U.S. mint, a coin that seemed ordinary to those who spent it on bread, milk, or a morning paper. Yet today, that same 1941 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark has become a beacon for collectors, a symbol of hidden value, and a mysterious treasure whose story shines brighter than silver itself. Beneath its simple surface lies a tale of artistry, history, and fate, the story of a coin that has the power to change a fortune overnight. The year 1941 marked the dawn of America's involvement in World War II. The United States had not yet entered the conflict, but the tension in the air was electric. Factories roared to life, building ships, planes, and machines of defense, while everyday Americans prepared for uncertain times. Amid this world of transformation, the Philadelphia Mint struck the 1941 Jefferson nickel, a small piece of metal that captured the spirit of a nation standing tall before the storm. The coin bore no mint mark, a sign that it came from the nation's oldest and most prestigious mint, the same institution that had been coining the dreams of America since 1792. The design of the 1941 Jefferson nickel was not new, but it carried renewed significance. Created by Felix Schlag in 1938, the coin honored Thomas Jefferson, the third president, the author of the Declaration of Independence, and the very embodiment of American intellect and freedom. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait faced left, dignified and calm, his gaze hinting at a mind always focused on progress. On the reverse stood Monticello, his home in Virginia. More than a residence, it was a monument to architectural perfection and human ambition. Together, these images made the nickel not just currency, but a miniature sculpture of America's ideals. By 1941, The Jefferson nickel had already become one of the most recognized coins in circulation. Millions of Americans carried it daily, yet few realized that the nickel they used so casually would become a historical artifact of immense value decades later. The Philadelphia issue, struck without a mint mark, holds a unique place in history because it represents the last chapter of pre-war minting purity. The final breath before wartime scarcity transformed everything. Though composed primarily of copper and nickel, there is a lingering mystery around the 1941 nickel's metallic soul. While official records list no silver content, many collectors whisper of experimental planchets, transitional errors, and chemical anomalies that lend some 1941 nickels a strange luster, a glimmer that seems almost silvery under certain light. Whether these were the results of unique minting conditions, contamination, or forgotten wartime experiments, such coins have become the holy grail for collectors. Finding one could mean unlocking a treasure worth unimaginable wealth. What makes the 1941 Jefferson nickel truly legendary is its connection to one of the most dramatic transitions in U.S. coinage history. The very next year, in 1942, the mint would shift the nickel's composition to include silver, as wartime demands for nickel metal grew urgent for weapons and machinery. This makes the 1941 nickel the symbolic boundary between peace and war, between normalcy and necessity, a last reflection of America's calm before it was engulfed in the fires of global conflict. Collectors know that the no-mint mark 1941 nickel is not merely metal. It is emotion cast in copper and nickel. It carries the heartbeat of the early 1940s, the radio crackling with news from Europe, the hum of factory sirens, the patriotic posters calling citizens to stand ready. Each coin was a silent participant in that time, passing through hands that were building history. Factory workers, soldiers, mothers saving every cent for their children's future. The Philadelphia Mint, in 1941, was at full force, producing over 200 million Jefferson nickels. Yet, among those millions, only a handful survived in pristine, untouched condition, coins that never saw a pocket or cash register. These mint-state survivors, preserved by chance or by foresight, now hold values that defy imagination. When struck perfectly, with crisp lines across the steps of Monticello, known to collectors as full-steps nickels, their worth multiplies beyond belief. A flawless example, glowing with its original luster, can command thousands of dollars at auction, and ultra-rare pieces with extraordinary toning have been known to reach values that could change a person's life overnight. It's not just condition that makes these coins valuable. It's the story they carry. The 1941 Jefferson nickel embodies the resilience of a nation preparing for its greatest test. Its lack of a mint mark gives it an air of purity, a connection to the heart of American minting tradition. The Philadelphia Mint, birthplace of the nation's currency. Each coin struck there was an emblem of unity and strength, a small but potent reminder of what America stood for. The artistry of Felix Schlag's design gives the 1941 nickel an elegance that time cannot fade. The precision of Jefferson's face, the clean symmetry of Monticello, these features reveal the devotion of an artist who believed that even a 5-cent piece should carry dignity. It is that same artistic integrity that makes this coin so beloved by modern collectors. To them, the 1941 nickel is not merely money. It is a canvas where art and history meet. As decades passed, countless 1941 nickels were lost, melted, or worn beyond recognition. Yet the few that survived in their original brilliance became legends. Some were rediscovered in estate collections, old bankrolls, or dusty jars hidden away for generations. Each discovery tells the same story, the thrill of realizing that an ordinary coin might hold extraordinary fortune. And every time one of these rare nickels resurfaces, the numismatic world takes notice, for it reminds us that history still hides in plain sight. If you were lucky enough to find a 1941 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, take a moment before spending it or selling it. Hold it to the light. Feel its weight. Notice the faint shimmer on its surface, the texture of its edge, the noble calm in Jefferson's eyes. That small coin carries within it the legacy of a nation on the brink of transformation, the artistry of one of the mint's finest designs, and the potential to unlock untold wealth. In the modern coin market, the demand for these pre-war nickels has soared. Collectors around the world compete for the best-preserved examples, their prices climbing higher each year. And while the exact number of surviving high-grade coins is unknown, The allure of the 1941 Jefferson nickel continues to grow. It is a coin that transcends its denomination, a piece of history that feels alive in your hand.